Meeting will come to order, please. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied. A copy of the annual meeting notice was sent to the press, the Down Beach Current, posted on the bulletin board on the municipal website, and filed in the office of the city clerk. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Attention, salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Becker?
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg?
I am here.
We have before us the minutes of our October 1st meetings. What is your pleasure?
I'll make a motion we accept those minutes.
And I will second that motion.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
We will now open for public comment. You have 3 minutes to discuss any subject at all. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Larry Clofine, 431 North Thurlow Avenue. My family and I have been residents of this city for almost 65 years. Approximately 2 years ago, the gas company came down our street and put in new lines. Then they patched the street with blacktop. Prior to this work and after this work, numerous individual jobs have been done requiring the street to be patched again. Thus, there were numerous patches all over the street. These repairs, though I'm sure were necessary, have left North Thurlow Avenue from Amherst to the end of the street at the bay, looking like a hodgepodge of patches, some good, some bad, some terrible. It was only yesterday that I found out that Thurlow Avenue was not even on the list of streets to be paved. I am sure most of the residents and many of those who live out of town, but are still taxpayers, have been under the assumption that our street would be included in the project. Our street has numerous homes that are on the water, and although we do not pay oceanfront taxes, we who are privileged enough and fortunate enough to live on the lagoon or bayside pay some very high taxes to the city. As residents and taxpayers, we rely on the powers that be in our city government to protect our interests, which include keeping our streets in good order and repair. In our case, I feel this has not been done. I feel that the residents of North Thurlow Avenue have been done a disservice by the Margate city government, which did not fight on our behalf with the gas company to protect the value of our property by having this street repaved. We did not come en masse to protest, which I'm sure if everybody in the neighborhood was here, it would have happened that way. But you as our representatives should not have permitted the gas company to get away with not putting us on the repaving program. This is unfair, and I'm sure it will result in a devaluation of our property values when compared to properties on the streets that have been repaved and which look good and are not rough and irregular to drive on. I am requesting the city to reevaluate this situation with the gas company and do the right thing for the property owners on North Thurlow Avenue. Please repair our streets and protect our property values. Thank you.
Mr. Clofine, Commissioner Amadeo is going to respond right now, okay?
Pardon me?
He's going to get a response right now, okay?
Want me to wait here?
You can wait there, sure.
Yeah, sir,
Very good.
first off, I did hear from other residents from that 400 block of Thurlow. Unfortunately, the work that's being done currently is Sandy-related upgrades that the gas company received federal funds to put high pressure and do away with all the old-style cast iron and iron pipes with all the new plastic. When they did the work on Thurlow, the 400 block 2 years ago, that was done not under the pretense of what was done here now. But we have had engineering meetings where we've sat and talked about, in the future, in the next few years, doing road repaving projects, not infrastructure work in the streets themselves, because Thurlow, really, the sewer and the water lines there are up to date. And now that the gas company has completed their work as of 2 years ago, which isn't including in this phase 1 through 13 of the Sandy high-pressure system that they're doing all the barrier islands from Sandy Hook to Cape May, that we will look at individual streets and do a mill and pave in the future. So I'm not saying it's going to happen this year or next, but chances are in 2017 it will happen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Mayor, your undivided attention, because you're part of the problem, not part of the solution. Assemblyman, you have not partaken to date in these Board of Estimate hearings. However, your two compatriots have. And they have swallowed the whole story hook, line, and sinker year after year. When JB comes in and schmoozes them and says, we haven't raised the school budget of 13 plus millions of dollars for the handful of Margate children. But what JB doesn't tell the mayor and Watershed Commissioner Blumberg is that there's been a precipitous drop in the student population. According to DiNicola, it's 21%, and I'm sure that's a conservative estimate. The budget should have been reduced by 21%. We should have had a shared superintendent. But none of these things transpire because everybody sitting here has a conflict of interest. And they don't want to upset the apple cart or change the status quo. But I call upon you, Assemblyman, to make sure once an Assemblyman, always an Assemblyman, whether you like it or not.
Actually, I like the title Commissioner better.
Well, you're entitled to both titles. You're doubly titled,
There you go.
but not doubly entitled. So when this comes around in the spring, I want to see a 21% reduction. Because the reason they created 3 kindergarten classes of 9 each.
Wrong.
What?
They're 10 each. They had 3
Oh,
students.
10 each. 10 each. Oh, forgive me. Forgive me, Heavenly Father. 10 each. We don't have a private school experience like somebody we know, but rather they demand a boutique learning experience. Well, the solicitor's arch nemesis is raising a ruckus down in Longport, saying that they have to increase class size. And if things don't change, I have a feeling that Georgie Miller will change them for you. And as Mr. Werner so generously noted last time, when those kids from Longport go elsewhere, it's time to talk about closing the Ross School. It's long overdue.
Thank you, John. Anyone else? Public comment?
Sharon Simon, 424 North Thurlow Avenue. I haven't moved since I was up here at 4 o'clock. Question or comment. In the news and what we keep hearing is that we need to have these dunes because if we do not have them, Ventnor and Longport will suffer greatly. And when we had our committee in full swing, we had been speaking with some engineering people, and we were getting from them that that really is not the case. That there may need to be certain things that need to be done to protect particularly Longport, but this funneling effect in that, everything's we're just the worst evil of evils is scientifically not supported, at least from some opinions. So I understand at this point it's really a legal situation, but I just hope that we are at least looking at those from a scientific point of view so that, we can speak to that when need be. And I guess the other question I have is, it says in this report, and I recall from when the federal judge ruled that good faith negotiations are required prior to filing for eminent domain. So I would think that, and again, I'm not asking for any legal strategy, but that if you're going into court, the question is, have they satisfied their requirement of good faith negotiations? And from what I understand, you just got a letter saying $29,600. So if there's anybody that can or is willing to speak to that, I'd appreciate it.
Sounds like a good faith, reasonable negotiation to me.
Hey, I wouldn't take that just for my house. So that's really the basis at this point. It is legal. We're not really getting into any kind of engineering, scientific arguments at this point, or discussions, or...
Our attorneys are well aware of the process, and they're aware of what's, fair negotiations and all that. That will be dealt with in the future.
At this point, it's just the legal, we're dealing with the legality of eminent domain.
Correct.
And negotiations. We're not getting into any scientific engineering. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner Avenue. This issue has so divided the community. It's really unfortunate. My whole life I've had to fight, and I really don't enjoy it. I'd like to not fight, but I don't see that happening. But in any case, you got to think about what happens if you don't always win. Okay, what happens if you lose, and when is it time to decide that enough's enough? Okay, and I think we should spend some time. I mean, it's all let's all feel good about each other, and all. I think that's great. But look at the cold reality of life. Some people have more power than other people, and that's reality. Okay, and I don't want us to be punished. I really don't want us to be punished, and the state can do a pretty nasty job about it if they feel like it. So think about that while you're thinking about fighting the state. And like I said, it's a shame that it's been so divisive because it's just really a shame. And it's caused other cities to mock us and everything else, and that's unfortunate also. All right.
Thank you, Steve. Any other comments? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Johanna?
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
We will now open for public comment on Second reading of ordinances and resolutions. Is there any comment?
Your undivided attention, Mayor. Focusing is an important thing. Multitasking is dangerous at this stage. But your undivided attention to Resolution 18-2-15. None of this group has deemed it fit to attend the Ventnor meeting last week concerning the dunes, not even our esteemed solicitor. Had anyone in this group bothered to attend, they would have picked up a few little tidbits of critical information concerning the storm water. It seems almost inane to have this pumping station when Ventnor has at least 2 vacant, if not abandoned, unimproved lots lacking any bulkhead whatsoever. Plus, every Ventnor street end, bayside, have wide openings cut, lacking one-way exit of the stormwater. So it's almost pointless. You're going to have an unlimited amount of floodwater coming in because Ventnor isn't upholding its end of the bargain. So I strongly ask this commission to pass a resolution encouraging our dear neighbors to bulkhead at every vacant property that lacks a bulkhead and to install one-way piping in order to reduce the amount of stormwater that this station has to handle. It's all about being a good neighbor. I don't think we're asking a lot. It's not an inordinate amount of money, and it can be done. And in the last 52 seconds, may I remind everybody, as I reminded our city administrator, that each and everything that the Army Corps of Engineers touches becomes a major, expensive snafu. The prime example is the multi-billion-dollar Everglades project. We're paying for it in spades. We're paying for their Mississippi flood projects in spades. There's no reason for us to continue to pay for these pork barrel projects. They must cease and desist from imposing wasteful dunes. And this commission must be fiscally responsible and refuse to sign a 50-year tie-in contract.
What timing? Any other comment? Motion to close public.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Joanna?
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Johanna?
Okay. I'd like to hear a motion to adopt ordinance number 14-215, Chapter 8, claims approval.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
A motion on Resolution 179, authorizing bill payment and claims.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 180, authorizing interlocal agreement with Atlantic County, Ventnor City, Atlantic County Utilities Authority regarding Ventnor Gardens Stormwater Station.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 181, authorizing a professional agreement with Stockton University for services for marsh assessment and restoration plan.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Resolution number 182, authorizing FY state grant state aid grant application to New Jersey Department of Transportation for 2016 road program.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Thank you, Johanna. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Johanna?
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for being here.